morning, everyone. I have with me Sonia Lewis, who I have probably not totally happily woken up on the West Coast in Sacramento, but I'm so glad you're with us. So, fascinating story. It all started for Sonia at age 7 when she refused to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It just didn't fit her. The liberty and justice for all just didn't seem right for her. It didn't look like her. It didn't look like her family or her community. Sonia is on a mission. She wants to marry education and the equity and social justice. And so you've married this concept with education. And it's the perfect time because certainly what happened last summer is not a news story. I can't stand when people think everything that transpired at the height of last summer, anyone thinks that was anything new in our society. It certainly was very heightened last summer. But I think it got people talking again. And I think people certainly are talking still, but I'm so glad that we're talking today, but I really want to dive in because you have a business called ASCRIBE Educational Consulting.
Yeah.
I want to start there because what does that business do? Tell me more about this business, and then we'll probably back up to who you are, but I want to start there.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you for the opportunity to be on your show and speak with your audience. I started ASCRIBE Educational Consulting 12 years ago. I'm a former high school teacher, and I was on a mission to, like I said, marry education and social justice. What that means is we started out helping students transition, high school students transition from high school to the real world. And initially that meant helping with college applications and scholarships and writing their college essays. It also meant for those students who were not wanting to go to college for them to be prepared for the world of work. We've made several pivots along this past decade, mostly because administrators and educators saw the work that we were doing and were like, can we come in and create programs for our school sites? I will tell you that over this time period, there have been educational institutions upward to the university level, as well as corporations and government entities who have said, can you come in and assist us with equity? I don't consider us a DEI firm by no stretch of the imagination, because I'm not the type, anyone who knows me in community knows that I'm not the type of girl that we can check boxes and cross T's and dot I's. I really want to get to the root of where your organization is lacking equity, and that takes time. And so when last year happened, there was a different feeling. Like I said, I've been doing this for a decade now, and there was a different feeling where people were more open to listening. And I think that that's key to developing and understanding some shared language, some shared values around what equity means, what humanity means, and what belonging means. And so I just do trainings. I consider myself a anti-racism impact strategist, and we go in and we broker equity within teams and organizations.
What has the feeling been over the past year? I mean, it would seem to me that you're a welcome resource at this point, a welcome conversation. Or, God, I pray you are.
I hope so. I hope that we are making an impact. I feel like we are making an impact. We still get the challenges of people when the uncomfortable situations and feelings come up, because they do. And I warn people, like, this is about bravery. This is about having frank, honest conversations. But at the same time, this is also about not blaming and shaming folks who were not slaveholders, right? But understanding that your ancestors, certain people's ancestors in this country, created a way, a mechanism for you to have generational wealth and and by design, intent that other people would be denied that same access to success. And so the conversations are being had. People are still fearful, and that being scared is a normal, reaction and feeling, and we work through that. I consider one of my expertise, and the reason why I don't consider myself a DEI firm is because we really and truly are about curating safe space for these challenging conversations, which is important.
Well, they're uncomfortable conversations at times, and they need to be. And I think, I think that's where it has to start, to say, this is going to be uncomfortable. This may be uncomfortable, but the problem is not having that conversation is where, not having the communication is wherein lies the problem.
Absolutely.
And then again, also how you have the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you work with a team of people? I mean, is it just you?
Prior to last year, I was a solopreneur, and I would, acquire contracts, and I'd go in myself, set everything up. The work has been so overwhelming over the past 18 months that now I have a team. And so that team, I'm very blessed, is my mother, my daughter, a good friend that I trust in community. And then my younger children are like my brand ambassadors. We call them brand warriors. I have a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old who do a lot of blogging for us. We bring all of our clients to the table because we want to have an intergenerational conversation. And that
I love that, because the truth of the matter is that conversation of the young is what we need. And I love it when my kids were sitting around, and that's where the conversation around that dinner table, that's where change is happening.
That's where change is happening. I appreciate the things that young people are bringing to the table. They are very intentional about their mental health. They are very intentional about breaking generational curses and not living in the norm that we've all been accustomed to. They are really and truly the epicenter.
They're going to say it. They're going to say it,
and they're going to reimagine what this world is going to be like. So I am so appreciative of those conversations.
Yeah, I love that. I love your spirit. I love your energy. I think, it's, I always ask my guests to give me a couple of questions, because I really always want to also talk about what they want to talk about as well. I love one of the questions you gave me. I think it's important. It so happens I have a meeting after this conversation about equity in the cannabis industry of all things. But I want, tell me, so people know, equity and not equality. Tell me what is that?
So equality is this misnomer. It's this almost like pie in the sky. We can accomplish something that's really unattainable. There will never be a layer of equity for folks who have been disenfranchised in this country. And so what equity looks like is that we're looking at and evaluating where people are right now, and we're providing them with their needs. And so that can be, for example, the easiest example that I can think of is someone who is physically handicapped, challenged, disabled, right? And we put ramps in or operating doors so that it's easy for them to transition in and out of buildings, right? That's equity. Equity is when someone may not have access to college, and we are making pathways and strides to get them in the door. That's what equity is. Equity for women, for example, is making sure that there's not a wage gap. So equity in the cannabis industry is making sure that individuals who have been incarcerated because of cannabis now have access to those pathways into business ownership, because this is going to be a billion-dollar industry.
Correct.
And we need to make sure that those individuals are compensated because they know that industry. So that's what equity is. I am definitely not looking for the equal and equality. I am looking for equity. And that's what. So
do you look at equity as this is the fair? I mean, this is the right, this is what you're entitled, everybody should have access.
Absolutely. Everyone should have access. I believe that every student can learn, and everyone should have whatever their needs are met to get the best quality education via equity. And we are a resource-rich country, and we should be able to do that and stop working from a narrative of deficit, because we're not. We saw that during the pandemic. We were giving out thousands of dollars.
So is it fair, not always equal?
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
it's funny. My father used to always say, you know, sometimes it's what's fair. It's not always equal in that, you know, between my sister and I, as an example, you both don't need the
Absolutely.
same thing. You know, your
Absolutely.
kids don't all need the same thing. Your community groups don't all need the same thing.
Absolutely.
So I think that people have that mindset, we need to be equal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that that is a very important and very different conversation that we need to have now.
Yeah. Absolutely. When we think about communities across this country, you can look at any state and compare the tax bracket in those communities. And the tax brackets that are doing very well, those schools are resource rich, and the ones that are not doing very well, their schools are suffering. And that means that their students are suffering. That means their families are suffering. That means crime is on the rise because poverty is very high. And I feel like if we solve the problem of educational equity along with poverty, we can really leverage resources in this country. And people need to be willing to have that conversation. This isn't about taking from the rich and giving to the poor. No. This is about really distributing the resources in a more equitable fashion so that people have access to. Everyone wants their children to succeed.
I think that's just a really important word that we need to start integrating a lot more in our everyday language. I think that word equal needs to sort of just be put to the side.
Go away.
Yeah. The other question, and I also really love this, why anti-racist and not being racist are two very different beasts. Yeah.
They are two very, very different concepts. It's a get out of jail free card when you say, I'm not a racist, but what are you doing actively to be not racist, right? That's the difference. The difference, and I describe it like the ally effect. And I am so insistent this year, I made a declaration that allies need to step their game up. You can no longer throw up a few hashtags, throw a few dollars, show up at a protest.
Oh my God.
And take a few pictures, and then go back to the comforts of your home and call it a wrap and say, I did my good deed for the year. That is not allyship. Allyship is looking at the needs of the folks that you claim to care about, and then being the conduit, making sure that you are using your privileges to stand in the gap for. And I even say, take your privilege to the voting poll, right? Because you're okay. The things that you have are okay, but someone else's needs are not being met. And so
my God, can you repeat this? I want you to,
right?
No, you do
take
need
it to the voting poll, right?
And I will say today, and I'll date this, I don't care, but today in Detroit is a day of voting. Yeah. So today we're voting in Detroit. So 100%. My husband and I laugh. We say vote often. Yeah.
Vote for someone else's right that don't have the same privilege as you.
100%. But the truth is, and last summer in particular, I for sure heard many times anchors say, stop watching us on TV, turn off the TV and go do something. Absolutely. We all become watchers of the news, not doers.
Right.
And, you're 100% right when you say, don't put Black Lives Matter hashtag when that's your activism.
Absolutely.
I mean, that spreads the word, but what have you done as you've walked out the door? Yeah. How have you contributed to that statement? Yeah. And I love that you said that. And I also love, and it's so important to say often, to vote. I can't stress that enough. I've stressed that in my own family. It's the most important right you have in this country. So many people don't have that right. That's my preaching of the day is don't drive by the voting poll, stop in. Absolutely. You have a voice. I mean, that's your voice. Stop, bitching about what people are doing. Like you can, that's where you get to make the change. I know it's early and you have a day ahead of you. I don't want to let everybody go. I always put where to find my
Yeah.
guests. Your website, ascribesuccess.com.
Correct.
I want to be sure to tell you that I want you to come back. I want you to talk to me often.
Yeah.
I want to hear about what you're doing. This is a conversation that is only beginning.
And ongoing. We have to be having ongoing conversations. Absolutely.
100%. I want to offer up offline if there's something that your business can do in here in Michigan that we can connect. We need to do that. But please go back, sign up. Let's continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
I think it's important.
I appreciate that, Sari. And I will say that as far as call to actions, you all are doing it in Michigan. If you wake up and you go to the voting polls, that is so super important.
Yeah.
The other thing that I always say that it's even though there's an amplification of Black Lives Matter and trying to leverage equity for Black lived experiences, because within the scope of racism itself, anti-Blackness is at the all-time high of what racism looks like. And so I say that my mission in life is to be fighting for all of the things that my ancestors were denied, even though they deserved, because we built this country like literally brick by brick. White babies were fed on the breast of Black slave women. And so we have to recognize that that was a thing and the impact that has been 400 years in the making. And so you started off with my intro of 7-year-old Sonia refusing to say the Pledge of Allegiance. That story is coming to a book near you soon, a bookstore near you soon.
Oh, well, then you are definitely coming back.
Yeah, it's a children's book just to inspire and encourage young kids to feel what they feel in their gut is a really, really important thing, and that your voice is important. And so those are the kind of things that we're working on a continuous basis. So I look forward to coming back.
I can't wait to see that, because I think that's just, that's such an important story for all to hear.
Yeah.
That history is super important for everyone to understand. So keep doing what you're doing. It's really important. Come see me again.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You
Talk
as
to you
well.
soon.
Okay.
Bye.